You know, they said Al-Qaeda attacked us to get our liberties, but then the government's been going after our liberties.
Well, that ain't unusual either. No, that's been going on ever since I can remember, and it's right now the last few years it's just gotten to where it seems like not only has it got worse, but people are more aware of it now. There's more knowledge out there than there used to be. There's more interest now than there used to be. There's a lot of young people coming along and say, "What the hell's going on here? Mom, Dad, are y'all stupid? You know, why is this legal? Why is that illegal? What's going on? What are your priorities?" And so they're getting out there and they're voting. There's more young people voting this year than ever. I voted early the other day, and they said voting was up like 30–40% early voting. So I got a lot of.
And in this state, that ought to be remarkable.
Yes, it is.
I mean, this is supposed to be a big red state.
If there's one state in America that embarrasses me, and I hate to say it, it's Texas. On their voting turnout. I mean, their last government election, 26% of Texans voted for their governor. That's horrible.
Well, yeah.
It's embarrassing.
We're a country. But I think this year there's more reason to vote. People will get up and vote against something.
Yeah.
More than they will for something.
Willie, specifically.
And this year they're voting against things.
Willie, specifically, you were talking about, you were starting to allude to they went too far with 9/11, but in your own words, because it has backfired with 84% in major polls believing they're being lied to about it, and some polls about 60% believing it's an inside job. You know, polls 5 years ago, 36% saying inside job.
Wait a minute, Alex, I got to interject. Where are all these people? I'm running into the opposite. Nobody wants, everyone I run into does not believe.
But you're trying to talk to the government.
No. Even people on the street. I got chewed out yesterday watching a football game. When they asked me what I was doing, I said I'm investigating 9/11. Oh, you're one of them crazies?
Well, I mean,
and these were regular people.
That's probably the
These were not people up in high in government.
Well, Jesse, you're asking me a question. Let me tell you.
Okay.
Angus and Reid poll, Wall Street Journal poll, 84% believe they've been lied to about the official story. I can show you hundreds of polls. All I know is I've done several thousand radio interviews where the talk show host is attacking me, and almost every caller agrees with me. Let's ask Willie. Willie, what response did you get for going public for 9/11 Truth?
Well, I had a lot of people that agreed with me, and I had a lot of people that didn't. I'd go on people's shows like Amy Goodman, and she's, she wanted to hear my views, and her and a lot of her listeners agree that there is something there. There is things to be answered. There are questions. It's not a cut and dried situation. It never was to me. So, is there a reason to investigate? Well, hell yeah. Are there anything? Is there anything that they're trying to hide? Evidently, or they talk to Jesse.
Well, this is a paradox because most people I run into, privately will say, no, I know something's going on, or even publicly. Now, I do run into kind of the neocon 30%, pro-war people, and you're watching a football game, aren't you? With that kind of, and I'm not saying football, but that particular group. That's your Sean Hannity, Rush Limbaugh listeners.
No, it isn't. These were people I grew up with.
Really?
These are not Sean Hannity and Rush Limbaugh people.
Well, I'm guessing.
I was at I was at the Gopher game watching it yesterday with some friends that I've known since I was in 5th grade. And a few of them there, when they asked me what I was doing now, and I said I was investigating 9/11, they said, "You're not one of them crazies that thinks that there was da-da-da-da-da-da to it."
There's a certain percentage of the people who will not believe that their government will do anything
exactly.
You
and
have
it's a bigger percentage than you think.
That there are that certain
and they're bigger, 10, 20, they're bigger than you think.
But they will not believe that their government is capable of doing what we say that may or may not have happened.
Exactly. Willie's right on with that, Alex. There is and it's
I'm not saying there isn't. I'm not saying there isn't.
It's bigger than my in-laws. I told you about my in-laws. They're elderly people. I try to show them this. They want nothing to do. They will not believe that our country, the great country that they all served and went through World War II and all of this, they refuse to believe that our country could be evil.
I can't believe it. Well, it's that myth.
And you're not going to change them. I mean, I've pleaded with them. I've said,
there's a lot of them
look
that are
at
not
this.
going to change their mind.
They will not change their mind.
There's a lot of them that still love what's going on out there. They love the Iraq War. They don't know why. Mainly because they don't have any kids over there. It's your kids and my kids.
Well, that's what I was going to say, is that there is over 30% of the public still believes that WMDs were found, and around 30% of the public believes Saddam Hussein carried out 9/11. So
I would say it'd be higher than that.
Well, no,
probably,
but I just gave you the polls. Well, no, it was half.
I would say it would higher than that.
It was 55% 4 years ago, but no, it's about 35% now, 30%, depending on the poll. But that's what I'm saying is that you've got 30% that think WMDs were found. They think Saddam carried out the attacks. So I'm not saying, Governor, that I don't understand that there's people out there, but they're complete zombies living in total denial, and we know who they are. Look, I don't care if they say WMDs were found. I'm not going to agree with them because we know they're. I mean, it's delusional. So yes, you've got 30% that if they were told the moon was made out of cheese by George Bush, they believe it.
That's right.
So
now you got it, because he's government, and as long as the president says it, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's right. It's truth, and you're not going to change those folks.
I love my mother and father-in-law dearly, and I respect them. They're terrific people, but they just will not accept that our government would be evil.
That's right.
how do you get past that denial, Willie? I mean, how do you get folks to break out? Well, some people break out of it.
I don't worry about them.
Yeah,
I go on with my thinking and my my job, and
That's
let them live with their thoughts. I don't have to be responsible for them.
Yep.
Do you think the truth of 9/11 will ever officially come out like other things have?
I don't know. The truth about John Kennedy didn't come out, or so.
Exactly.
I wanted to get you to talk about Kennedy. Give us your view on that.
I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened at 9/11. I do know that a lot of investigations went on Kennedy that were stifled, just like what you're doing now. They tried to hold that back, and we know he was killed. We don't know who done it. The other argument of 9/11, we know those buildings fell. Now a lot of people would think it was done this way. We think it was blown up intentionally. So we're never going to be able to convince everybody, and we're never going to really know for sure.
Yeah.
And Willie's exactly right, because the simple way they get to that is by the removal of all evidence.
All evidence is gone.
Like when John Kennedy was assassinated, the first thing Lyndon Johnson did was he sent the limousine was where a homicide took place. There should have been the yellow tape around that limo. That limo shouldn't have been touched till investigators went through it with a fine-tooth comb. Instead, LBJ orders it sent to Cincinnati. It's cleaned and refurbished. Not one person got to look at the actual crime scene, which is backwards to what normally is done. That's what causes, for me, the light to go on, because when they start doing a crime scene the exact opposite of the way it's supposed to be done, that tells you that there's ulterior forces involved here. Now you shift to 9/11. In 9/11, the high priority was removal of everything. It was not investigating it.
That's right.
There were people, the priority went to the removal. The investigators were considered secondary. Well, that's the exact
Well, they kept them
opposite.
out.
Well, that's the exact opposite of the way it should be. Hold off, Alex.
Black boxes.
That's the exact opposite of the way it should be. The investigation should always take priority, and even if they use the excuse, well, we were searching for bodies, there could have been alive people in there, which you can accept, it still doesn't relieve them. They could have removed that metal and put it somewhere to where later it could have been looked at.
And that's what we all assumed they were doing.
They were doing, but it turned out they weren't doing that.
No.
They were destroying it all. They were building a new ship out of it as a monument. They were selling it to China and melting it down and doing everything. And so it's come down to today, and Willie's exactly correct. We will never know, because here's the reason. Now we're all experts.
That's right. And
Because with no evidence, with no concrete scientific evidence to go to, all of our opinions are valid, whether they be for or against, because there's no
But
way
isn't
to
the
the
same
disprove
thing
covenant
happened
anyone.
at the Pentagon.
Yeah.
The very same thing happened. They came in, they cleaned up everything, they took all the video cameras away, and they dared anybody to say anything.
Yeah, and so now there's no way to prove or disprove
Well,
anything.
Willie, isn't that right there historically, especially in a criminal investigation, a cover-up is generally seen as an evidence of guilt, or that there should be a massive investigation? Can you speak to that?
Well, I think that's true. Anytime you cover up evidence or take evidence away, you have an agenda there. You're trying to stop people from knowing what happened. And I really do believe that's what happened.